I built a six-figure plus landscaping company by 20 while in college, and here's how you can do it too, because it's certainly not brain power that got me this far. What's going on, guys? My name is Caden. Like I said, I built a six-figure landscaping company before 20 while managing college as well, and I just kind of wanted to give you the backstory and what you can do to build a similar service-based business like I did without the wasted efforts and mistakes that I've made, so you can get to where I am quicker than I did. First off, you have to figure out if running a business and starting one is worth your time or not, and will you actually enjoy it. A couple of things to think about in this is, do you have a true passion for what you're doing? Because if you view running a business like this as a job and you dread it and you just can't wait to be done for the day, this probably isn't for you, because at this stage of business, you're really an owner and operator and manager and CFO, COO, all of it at once, because you don't have enough people to delegate those tasks. So you're doing the majority of the work, and your laborers are basically getting the work done with you, not without you. So you're doing everything. You're an octopus with many arms. So as long as you're okay with that, and you have a passion for it, it'll work out well for you. I know for me, I love it a lot, and working a 14-hour workday during the spring and summer, plus 2 hours of quotes and invoicing, doesn't really feel like work to me. It doesn't feel hard because I just like it. So for someone that views it as like working at McDonald's or Walmart and you're just doing it to pay the bills, do not do it. Especially doesn't pay the bills early on. Which leads me to my next point, that if you're looking to do this for a fat paycheck early on and to look showy, this probably isn't for you, because if you want to grow quickly, you have to reinvest a lot of your income, and if you don't reinvest a lot of your income, you can't scale quickly. So as Mike Andy says, growth sucks cash, and that's totally true if you want to scale fast. Especially if you don't want to go into excessive debt, you have to reinvest a lot of your income to get to where you want to go pretty quickly. So I know for the first year or two, I barely took an income. My guys can attest that I have paid myself $50 a week throughout the year. That's pretty much all I need for food, hanging out, and gas is on the business card. So all it is basically just food and stuff. So and that got me by no problem. And to me, buying equipment and cool things like that to grow my business, finding people, was kind of the fix I needed to spend my money. And I didn't really seek to want to do anything cool or buy anything cool personally for myself. And when I did, I bought a quad and I just put it in the business, and then that was kind of, a treat at the end of the year, I guess. If I wanted to buy something big, I would just do it through the business, and you just write it off at the end of the year. So, so basically, don't expect high income early on. You do it for the maximum income freedom that you can have, a higher cap. Very common, for business owners know that they might not make a lot early on, if anything, but the reason we're in business is so that we can potentially make a lot more down the road, and we have equity into something we've been working for. So eventually you could sell the business, and as well as your income, you saved up for retirement, and you sell the business, and you got 2 to 3 million, depending on the size of your business, just waiting for you when you sell your business. So obviously, if you're a smaller business, you won't get that much, and if you're a really big business, you'll probably get more than that. So weigh all of these factors in when you're thinking about starting a business similar to mine, which is home service businesses, outdoor services, blue collar businesses. Don't do it for the money early on. Do it for the end goal, and you have to love the journey, not the destination. You have to love doing it and love working 14-hour days and putting in a lot of hours. Or else it just simply will not work, and it'll be miserable. So pick something you actually love to do, and you'll be fine. Now, that being said, I'll give you the backstory of how Precision Grounds Management, my company, got started up. I started the company with a push mower and a electric weed whacker that we used around the property. And I went to my old neighborhood, and we serviced Lorain County, so I lived in the Avon area. So I went to my old neighborhood before I moved out to the country, and I knocked on doors, and neighbors already knew before. I asked them first, and then I got their lawns, and then, lawns that I wanted additionally, I would go knocking on doors. I would pound doors all day long to get clients, and, that's somewhat scary for some people, trying to sell someone something at the door, but trust me, once you get started, it gets a lot easier the more you do it. It seems scary at first, your heart starts pounding a little bit, but once you do 10, 15 doors, it's just like second nature. So, and if you're really good, you can figure out things to upsell the customer for. If they don't need lawn care, well, you can notice, hey, Miss Jones, your bushes look a little overgrown. I was wondering if you need those trimmed. Your lawn looks like it may have some weeds here. I was wondering if you'd be interested in our fertilizer and weed control service. Hey, I know you don't want lawn care, but your beds look like they could maybe use some mulch. If you're interested in something like that, we do that for you. So anything like that, skills like that, you learn pretty quick going door to door early on. That's a huge skill to utilize. So once we got a few clients going door to door, we eventually started upgrading our equipment. We couldn't use push mowers forever, so we got a 52-inch zero-turn stand-on. And if you're starting out and you want a mower that, will do basically anything, do any yard, go with a 52-inch stand-on. I don't really care what brand it is. Go with a dealer near you. Build a relationship with that dealer because it will pay major dividends in the long run. So it doesn't matter what the brand. We use Ferris. If you live in Lorain County, use C&C Sales and Services. They sell and serve Ferris, and I've been super happy with them. So, but wherever's closest to you, use them. All mowers are almost the same. So, I would go on brand. You're looking at Skag, Ferris, Exmark, any of those big name brands. I wouldn't go anything, not commercial, because it'll eventually fall apart. You have to go with a commercial brand. That's the only stipulation. You can't go residential equipment. You can't do, like a little Troy-built tractor or something like that, Craftsman, tractor, because it will not last you a while. It'll fall apart. The next way we marketed was on, I would go on Facebook forums, and I would post, introduce myself, who I am, what I'm trying to do. I want to cut lawns, I'm saving up for college. Use your unique selling proposition. For me at the time, it was, hey, I'm a young guy saving up for college. I want to start a lawn care company so I could save up and pay for college. Anything, that makes you kind of an underdog. Seems like it works well, when you're a young age. I was probably 17 or 18 at the time. And my selling proposition was, like I said, I'm saving up for college. And that seemed to work well, especially when going door to door too. That's a nice little pitch, because, a lot of, people love supporting young entrepreneurs starting a business, and they're happy to do so. Even if they don't really need the service, it's more like a donation, and you're supporting someone that's, working hard, good cause, because kids that are working hard and, starting their own businesses and, have a drive in life are becoming a rare breed. So yeah, Facebook forums are a great way to do it for free. You're reaching, I would do like city forums, like groups, and you're reaching, thousands and thousands of people for free potentially. So that I still do that now. I just started this year. I put like $5 a day into a Facebook ads. I'm going to see if it works. I've heard it's iffy, so I'll probably just not do it anymore. But so knocking on doors is number one, the best, because it's a one-on-one, face-to-face relationship that sales go up like crazy. There's a reason that major businesses do it that way, is because that face-to-face contact and selling, and that gives you a lot higher rate of return when you're selling. So do that first if you're comfortable, or inch your way into it. Second would be the Facebook groups and stuff, forums. That's free, and it's reaching thousands of people. And pretty much above all else, which was the foundation of our company, not knocking on doors, not Facebook forums, it was just doing very high-end quality work for a fair price. Word of mouth was the biggest one for us, just people telling their friends that we do a good job, that we're reliable, that we answer their calls, that we, do great work every time, things like that. People talk to their friends. That was the biggest contributor to our growth recently. So that'll only take you so far. Eventually you'll need to come up with different marketing streams, but if you do great work for a reasonable price, that'll take you a long way early on for sure. Another part of the marketing too, which I wish I would have started early on, focused on more, would be the Google business profile. This is a huge element to business nowadays. A lot of people don't have it, especially older business owners. They don't really focus on it that much, but having a Google business profile is huge. Getting 5-star reviews, more than 30, will rank you high on the SEO and businesses in the area, because everyone uses Google. And if you keep that updated and have many reviews, 5-star reviews, that will get you a lot of calls and a lot of leads coming in. And if I would have focused on this early on, I would have a lot more reviews right now and a lot more phone calls coming in. So after every job you do, after every year of lawn cutting, ask each of your customers to leave you a 5-star review if they're happy with their service. And if they weren't, tell them what you could do better, and you'll get a ton of reviews doing it that way. So if they aren't willing to give you a 5-star review, ask them, what can we do better for you? How can we provide additional value, with our services for you? That is huge to generating leads coming in and work. So right when you get started, start that Google business profile, get as many 5-star reviews as you possibly can, keep it updated, keep photos moving, videos, links, keep it moving, and respond to every review you get with, a couple sentences saying thank you or something like that. So, all right, the next area I'm going to touch on is operations. So finding people to work for you. I was solo for a little bit, then I had one person, then I have 2 guys, and this year we're going to have 3 guys other than me. So finding people to work is, a common issue people are having, especially nowadays. It's definitely harder, but if anyone that says it's impossible, don't listen to them, because it's not. So they're just not doing everything they possibly can to find the employees. But in lawn care specifically, it is better to hire people without experience that are hard workers, diligent, show up on time, and actually care, versus people that are highly skilled, ex-crew leaders for a different company, managers that don't work hard, aren't honest, steal from you. All these issues that, in the horror stories you hear about, some employees and stuff like that. So don't be scared to hire people without talent, especially in lawn care landscaping. It's easy to train them, especially if you show you care about them progressing in the company, your vision, and working hard to facilitate a future for them and your business, and showing them that you really actually care. And don't get mad all the time. Don't be condescending. Show them that you are empowering them and not just enabling them and micromanaging. So show trust, show responsibility, and actually care. And if you do that, try to find, friends, especially people you can trust. That's a great option. But if you can't find friends, like I said, the forum posts are a great, utilizer to do that. I haven't hired anyone that isn't, a friend or a friend of a friend, but if I were to, which we probably are in the next year or so, I would go on a forum like we were talking about previously and just offer, the position, say where you're planning the company to go, what you're offering pay-wise, what the position will look like, what's your end goal with the company. Say that this company is growing quickly with new positionings opening up and career path growth. Basically, show them that this isn't a dead-end job and this is a quickly growing company that they could have a substantial place in the future, which is true if you want to do that. The next part I'm going to touch on growing a 6-figure lawn care or home service business quickly would be customer service. The number one thing I hear about clients complaining about with their previous provider is customer service. Not answering text, not answering the phone. If they have a problem with the way you're doing the service, no one makes any adjustments. It's a nightmare. So make sure you are prompt with your responses. You follow up with quotes and invoices. Don't think that you're annoying. That maybe you are, but it's better than not following up at all. Showing you care is always better than showing you don't care. So if it comes off as obsessive, or if it comes off as maybe a little bit pushy, do that instead of not doing anything at all, because it shows that you actually care, even if you're being annoying or not. So you're trying to grow a business, you're trying to provide them with a highly valuable service. It is a transaction, not a one-way deal. So you're providing value through service, they're providing value through capital, money. So offer premium service. Customer service is half the battle. The actual operations is the other half. So you can't have one without the other. You need to have both to have a successful business, even at this little business stage. Another part of that is eventually maybe you would start on paper for your record keeping, your books, your scheduling, but you need to get on a CRM pretty quickly after that. That won't be able to last you forever. So switching over to a CRM like Jobber, Copilot, LMN, depending on what size of business you are, you're probably going to want to go with Yardbook or Jobber earlier on. The other ones are for bigger companies doing million plus. Jobber's good for starting and million plus businesses, so I would suggest Jobber or Yardbook. Yardbook's free early on, so maybe start with I started with Yardbook for free, and then I moved to Jobber. So and Jobber's great for customer service because you can send confirmation text reminders that we're going to be at your property the next day, on your way texts that are like 10 minutes in advance, in case they need to move cars or something or bring the dog in. It is great to supplement customer service. Keeps your stuff organized, doesn't let you get in a bind. It tells you how many people owe you, invoice follow-ups, quote follow-ups. It is great to keep you organized. That is Jobber CRM. And Yardbook will do something similar, probably not as in-depth because it's free, but something digital to keep you organized is a must when you're doing 6 figures in revenue a year. This is not a Jobber sponsor, by the way. I just really like their software. Next portion I'm going to touch on is equipment. We already touched on, mowers pretty much earlier. Like I said, start with that 52-inch deck stand-on. The stand-ons are great. They're better for residential, medium-sized lawn. They're just the jack of all trades. Eventually, if you want to do larger properties in the country, in the city, in big, you want something more versatile. So you're probably going to want a sitter, a sit-down zero-turn that's like a 60-inch deck or above, maybe a 72, a 60-inch stand-on, 52-inch stand-on, or a 36-inch stand-on for backyards, or a push mower. I have a 36-inch stand-on, and I use that purely for backyards that are gated, and it makes all the difference. So for our residential routes that are a bit smaller, we run a 61-inch or 60-inch stand-on Ferris Z3X. That is an amazing mower. It's powerful through wet grass. Then we run a 52-inch Z2 Ferris stand-on mower. That's an amazing mower too. I've had that for a long time. That was the first mower I started with. And then that 36-inch backyard mower. And with those 3, you're cruising through yards in 15-20 minutes, doing great work, leaving beautiful stripes. They're just great mowers. So, firstly, I would go to Facebook Marketplace and find these zero-turn mowers. Try to find mowers with low hours. Bring someone that knows how to diagnose, mechanical things. I'm not very handy with equipment and stuff like that. I know how to check oil and check hydro fluid and stuff like that. But bring someone who does it for a hobby, one of your buddies or something, just to go with you as a second eye. Because I've gotten scammed, a time or two early on with the Facebook mowers and stuff. So, if you get a bad mower and it causes you a bunch of repairs, you might as well go with a new mower at that point. That's why you have to be super sure when you're buying a used mower that it's not going to cause you a bunch of headaches. One major regret I have is buying used mowers that are not in great shape and pouring more money into them than I needed to in order to get a brand new mower. So the money I've spent on 1 or 2 of my mowers would have gotten me a brand new mower, so with a warranty. So if I could go back and do it again, I would have checked more, found a better mower or just bought a brand new mower. So remember that is huge. Don't get scammed on Facebook Marketplace. Always go into it being very cautious. What kind of weed whackers do you want? I started out with a steel weed whacker. It was the combi system, so it's a weed whacker, it's a bush trimmer, it's a bed edger. You can put all kinds of tools on it. But that, I believe the motor attachment for that is about $600, and all the other attachments are like $100, $150 or something like that. So it's kind of a big investment early on, but it is definitely worth it because this one tool does pretty much all of it for you. But we don't use that as much now. We've moved towards Echo. We believe Echo is better. We just had better luck with it. Our steel backpack blowers have all blown. We don't know why. The right fuel's been in them, but after a year or two, they just blow up. So I don't know if it's something we're doing wrong. I don't know if it's with steel. I don't know. That's just what's happened to us. So I don't know if someone accidentally put the wrong gas in it at some point and didn't say anything. Maybe it was me. Maybe I didn't even know. I don't know. I know a lot of people use steel and think they're great. So, but personally, we use Echo. I know steels have valves, so maybe our valves weren't adjusted. They're not true two-strokes. Echoes are true two-stroke hand tools, so they're a lot simpler, more reliable, maybe less power, but they don't have valves and things to get, misaligned and broken. So less maintenance. If you're not a fan of doing a lot of maintenance and you're not mechanically inclined like I am, I would go with Echo for sure. And they've been extremely reliable for us. Same thing with the blowers too. We go all Echo for pretty much everything now. So now trucks. So if you're first getting started, I would use a smaller truck like a Ranger or a Tacoma or your SUV even that has a hitch. That'll take you a long way. Obviously, you might want something more professional in the long run. I know I used a 2002 Dodge Dakota and towed a lot of weight with it for a while, and it worked fine, but eventually you need to upgrade for something. So, not going into debt early on is, better, and you got to weigh your risk tolerance. If you want to go on into debt early, you need to know what you're doing. You need to study the industry, the business, and make those decisions confidently and have a plan, especially going into winter where you're making payments when there's no revenue coming in. So be wise with the debt. But for me, I didn't want to go into a lot of debt early on, so I used my little red Dodge Dakota for 2 or 3 years. That was perfectly fine for me. And now I upgraded to a 2016 Chevy 2500, and that is working great, and we can afford it. And it was the right move at the right time, and it's very professional. So kind of use your judgment there. Buy something professional eventually. But, when you're first starting out, save as much money up as possible. Use what you got if you can. And then later on, when you have some excess capital, buy a nice professional truck. If you figure out that you want to make this legit and you're really serious about it. Because statistically, a lot of businesses fail. Most businesses fail in the first 3 years. So don't go debt crazy in the first 3 years. Get yourself a solid foundation. Feel a little bit more confident because the stats are against you. Statistically, they are against you starting a business. So ease into it. Build a solid foundation. Then go into a little bit of debt maybe to get the equipment necessary to do the job and look professional. That was at least my logic with it. I'm very cautious with it. I try not to get into a lot of it, but if you need something to get the job done, you need the equipment. So now here are a couple challenges I faced while growing this landscape company. So I first started when I was in high school. So on the weekends were pretty much prime time for the business and growing it. So school took up a lot of my time and slowed down the growth process for sure. And then I went to college, and then the same thing there too. You pretty much have the summers, and that's it. You're pretty limited when it comes to the fall and spring. We just stick to what's necessary, which is the mowing and the fertilizer. We stop landscape leads in the spring and then in the late fall too, because it's just too much with school. So if you do what I've talked about in this video and you're not in school and you're still living at home, that would be the absolute ideal conditions. You could pretty much have 2x the amount of time I had when I was in school, because most of my day would be devoted to school. I had to do homework. I got to commute to college back and forth. So if you are not going to school and you're living in a home, that is the most ideal conditions. So for me, I'm going to college because it's not very expensive for me, and it's a great backup plan, and it helps me grow my business, and I enjoy it. So, and it's working out, good for me right now. So, but don't feel like that's necessary. It's definitely not. I know that a lot of what I learned is kind of useful for it, and I've learned a decent bit, but you could absolutely do something like this and quicker and better without any college education, for sure. Everything is available for you on YouTube and videos like this, and by a lot of people that know a lot more than me and are a lot bigger than me. But yeah, school has been definitely a hindrance if you think about it from a growth and speed perspective. We've still grown pretty quickly, I think, but without school, it would have been a lot faster. So, so weigh your odds there. If you have a great opportunity where you can go to college pretty cheaply, I would definitely do it because it's a great cushion and backup plan if things don't go well. Because again, the statistics aren't in your favor. So, it's a great idea to get a degree if you can. If it's cheap and you got, if it works out with your schedule, I would do it if I were you. But yeah, I would say if you're going to a lot of debt and spending a lot of money on the college, I would skip it. I would just focus on the business, especially if your parents are all right with having you stay at home for a few more years, just to get things started and to avoid you from paying rent somewhere, because that is a huge expense to take on. So yeah, basically, like I said, it's a decent bit more difficult with the schooling. A couple things that keep me focused and organized is just time management. Figuring out when the switch is, for work versus school, flip that switch. And it's kind of hard when you're busy in school and you're working on your business and it's getting you nowhere in school and it's sucking up your time. It's a very bad feeling. It's stressful at times, especially in the spring when the demand's high and people are calling you and you're still got to focus on finals. So finding people, employees that are capable to take a little bit of that weight off your chest while you're focusing on school, doing things like that is a huge benefit. So just finding time management, working hard, and it goes back to that thing. It comes down to just true passion. You have to love it or you can't do that. You just can't. I've probably missed a lot of details that are helpful. Maybe I've said things that you don't agree with, or your dad's advising you against or something like that, and I could be wrong. So listen to your parents. If your parents, have your best interests in mind and stuff. So, but this is, just my experience with it and what I think you should do to get to where I am at, faster and better. Tip number 1 would be don't do your own books. Hire an accountant. You do not want to get destroyed with taxes or any penalties or late fees or fines or anything like that. I've heard horror stories about it. It is totally worth a couple $100 a year just to hire an accountant to handle all your books, advise you. It's just so worth it. You don't even have to think about your taxes. Just do it. Don't try to do it yourself. Hire an accountant because you're going to mess it up one way or another, especially when you're running a business. When you're just dealing with, a job and income, it's just something, it's a little bit different. But when you're dealing with a business and your income, it gets very complicated. And plus, they're going to find a lot of write-offs for you. There's just so many benefits to having an accountant. Just get one. Save yourself the hours and the mess-ups and the fines and penalties. It's so worth it, trust me. Tip number 2, like I said before, get that CRM. Get organized. It's a huge benefit, especially with AI coming out. It can do a lot of tasks for you. It's like an office assistant, basically keeps you organized. You don't want paper scattered around everywhere. Just stay organized with that CRM. That is huge. Tip number 3 is get away from accepting cash and things like that. Record payments. We only take checks and Venmo. At this stage, I wouldn't do card payments because you're wasting a lot of money with the fees. And the card payments only benefit big companies that struggle with receivables. If you struggle with people paying you and you're doing a couple million a year and a lot of your revenue is held up in receivables, credit card payments are nice because they're automatic and you get that money automatically or HCH or something like that, bank payments. Those are great too. We don't do any of those right now because we just don't have that issue. If someone doesn't pay, we're small enough to where I can, give them a call or a text or reminder or something like that, and I get my money. So I don't really have an issue with that. Hence why we only accept check and Venmo. So we save on the credit card fees, and it's not worth our while to get those receivables and sacrifice those credit card fees. So, don't accept the cash. It's hard to trace. Just take the checks and make sure you record the checks. Have an organization system to where you're not losing checks, because that can become a headache for sure. I've been through that a couple times. You could lose a check. Sometimes they don't come in the mail, and it gets blamed on you, or you accidentally throw it in the trash and you didn't sign it or something like that. Have a filing cabinet for each month's checks when you invoice every month. Have them all organized, discard them properly when you're done. Just keep all your payment stuff very organized. You don't want to be labeled as a thief. That is a horrible thing. So regardless if you mess up or not, people are going to automatically think that you're trying to steal from them. That's just the reality of it. Even if you're not, even if you made a dumb mistake, they're going to by default think that you're trying to steal from them or scam them, especially if you don't have a good relationship with the person or if they're a new client. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Other than that, that is my advice to you to how to build a 6-figure plus landscape lawn care company while you're in college or school or anything like that. I hope this helps you out a little bit. It's my first time doing a video like this, so bear with me if I missed anything big or anything like that. But thanks for watching. Like I said, comment, subscribe, like the video, and tell all your friends about Precision. Thanks.